إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Inshallah, we will continue in the commentary or the thoughts or reflection on the book Madarij al-Salikin, the steps of the seekers, which is the explanation of the book Manazil al-Sa'irin of Imam al-Harawi. Except Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, he went in depth, more depth than Imam al-Harawi. And I just remind ourselves with where we stopped last time in the step of inaba, or the state of inaba, going back to Allah. And before it was at-tawbah. And before that, or the first one we talked about was al-yaqadha, to be alert, to be aware. So today, a natural progression, if you will, of al-inaba, to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you have to be in a state of tazkirah. It is a state of remembrance. And once you say remembrance as tazkirah, which is tadhakkur, is different than tafakkur. Okay, what is tafakkur and tadhakkur? Tafakkur, it is to ponder. Tafakkur is to ponder and to start going into, to find, certain ideas or certain issues that you can extract some thoughts or some benefit from. That is, you're starting from nothing. You start thinking and pondering. But tadhakkur, it is like it as well with your heart and your mind. You are reflecting on things, but it is more of remembering things. So tadhakkur has to do with issue that was already there. Meaning that you did tafakkur first, and you reach certain impressions and thoughts and so forth, and this is in your mind now. So you're going to go through tadhakkur or tazkirah, meaning you go back to it and extract it again, or not again, again and again and again also, meaning that you remember it. Now, Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he makes a comment on this beautiful comment. He's saying that you start with the tafakkur, and then you go to the tadhakkur, as we just said. You start with nothing, and you start pondering, and then you reach certain conclusions and so forth, and that's in your mind, and you go for tadhakkur. Okay? And then when you do tadhakkur, and you remember the things that you already reached some conclusion in, you take it with the experience that you have as you're moving along in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you do tafakkur again within the tadhakkur that you have. I hope I'm not confusing anybody. Meaning now that you are, let us say, you're remembering the old ideas that you had, you already acquired, right? But then your experience and so forth, there are new things in it, okay? Because a new experience, experience in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in life and so forth. So that issue, those issues that you already have, you add to it. So you do tafakkur on the tadhakkur that you have, okay? And now the new conclusion, it becomes in the back of your mind now, or your heart, and it is you're going to acquire it again later on. You understand? You started from nothing, you acquire certain impressions and so forth, you keep it now, and then you remember it later. As you remember it later, it is in a state now, a new state that you are in because of new things that you experiences. Then you add to it and you bring it back. And so you keep doing that until he says that then you eventually, inshallah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will take you, because of this constant process, into you'll be able to hear and see with your heart. Okay? Of course, not literally, but of course, see and hear your heart, meaning that your heart will have light in it. That is, within that light, you're not going to have a regular hearing, an average hearing. It will be more sensitive, if you will, meaning you will decipher things more in a more sensitive way now. You'll see through things, not just the surface of things. Through things meaning that you the experiences that you are acquiring now, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowing you to have, it gives you, comfort and more, precision, and more, seeing through things. Remember when we said last time, or a couple of times ago, when seeing through things, meaning like when someone comes in and insults you, right? So you see in the surface what somebody's insulting you, but you see beyond that. What do you see? You see that everything happens by the will of Allah, right? So if everything's happened by the will of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is allowing this person to insult you. So now your whole idea now changes, or that your perception changes, because now you're looking that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is allowing this man here to insult you, right? So you go into that. Another word, you see through this man now, in a way. Okay, you see it, that it is happening because of, now you reflect on it. Why is it happening? Is it something that you need to correct? What is the wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is allowing such things to happen to you now, and so forth? Alhamdulillah. So now, with tafakkur and tadhakkur, you reach certain, as you go on in the path of Allah in different, levels, your heart will be more sensitive to everything around. So now, tadhakkur, example, سَيَذَّكَّرُ مَنْ يَخْشَى. The one who yakhsha will have tadhakkur. Yakhsha, to fear. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about the hereafter, talking about hellfire within the text, or the context of this ayat. وَيَتَجَنَّبُهَا الْأَشْقَى الَّذِي يَصْلَى النَّارَ الْكُبْرَى. Stay away from it, the one who will eventually end up in hellfire. You stay away from what? From remembering what? Remembering the hellfire, remembering the hereafter. So tadhakkur, there are issues that and matters that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about, subject matters, that is very important to reflect on. Okay, very important to reflect on, which is the ghaib. Okay, the ghaib, the unseen, that which is absolute. Okay, absolute existence around us and in the future, in our future. Okay, when we think about this life, we are thinking about issues that constantly changes, right? But when we think about the hereafter, we think about issues that is constant and has no change, right? So it's a whole different mindset when you start thinking about this life and the hereafter. I was, young, I became, old, and then I will die. I was sick, I became healthy, I might get sick again. There are always changes. I was hungry, I ate, I'm full, and on and on and on. Everything constantly changes, always, all the time in this life. Once we start moving from the door of death, okay, which is the door of this life to the hereafter, and once we start going there, now imagine that you're going to be moving from a life that is constantly changing to a life that is always permanent, has no change in it. The change is not by the means. Okay, I can change things now. This phone is next to me, or the watch, I can take it and put it here. There is some sense of I can do something. I can move things. I can plan things and try to execute it. That is this life. But once you go to the hereafter, that ability is gone. So you cannot decide something and do it. No, it will be done to you as Allah wishes, right? So what you have done of changing things in this life, you will take it with you, and it will be there, your amal, right? Then the amal is going to affect you now. You are affecting it. You are, you're doing something to it, but it is going to do things for you or to you now, then starting from the time of death on. So that's why we say Jannah is beautiful, because you don't take the means in it. And it's things that are happening that is for your benefit just by a thought, not by movement, and so forth. But to get back to the point of tadakkur. So when you remember, you remember about the unseen and what is to come, and you ponder about it. That is fix the heart, or it brings the heart into kind of tenderness, okay, away from this life. Now, away from this life in a way that you stay away from your duties and so forth. Away from this life, meaning that away from having this life in the heart, right? When the heart's occupied by these things that is happening now, and the result of it, and what you want from it, and so forth, the heart is occupied with that needs to be in your hand, not in your heart. Okay, executing it, whatever that you need to do, and so forth. Okay, but your heart is connected now with the hereafter, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ibn al-Qayyim saying the worst disease is al-hawa, okay, wa-shahwa. Okay, al-hawa wa-shahawat. Shahwa is desires, because hawa and shahwa, it is the heart is occupied with it. Okay, and the heart, in a way, the nafs and the intellect. The hawa, the intellect is affected by it, and the desires, okay, is the physically you are connected with it, right? Desires, which is ash-shahawat, it is things that are physical, lust, food, travel, being attached to something in this earth, and you feel like doing so, acquiring so, wealth, and so forth, right? That is shahawat. But hawa meaning thoughts and ideas, right? You sit and ponder about certain ideas that will take you away from the idea of tawheed, that will take you away from the idea of surrendering to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the pondering can really be off the mark, and can have bring disease to the heart, and the heart can be diseased, that would look for shahawat, desires, and so forth. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us about that shaitan will come to you and say, who made this? Oh, so and so person. And where did this come from? Is it so and so? Where did this come from? So and so, and give you change of things, right? Like, what is this? This is a chick. Where did it come? It's come from the egg. Where did the egg come from? It come from the chicken. And where did she come? It gets you into these things, and then until they get you, it gets you. Shaitan will get you to think this is what Rasulullah ﷺ is saying, but not in the words that I'm saying. I'm talking about the concept. At the end, Rasulullah ﷺ said, and then Shaitan will ask, and who created all of this? You say Allah, and then Shaitan will say, who created Allah? Okay, that is hawa, right? That is how. Then you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan ar-rajim. So Ibn al-Qayyim saying this issue of the hawa, okay, and shahwa is is a big disease that we need to be very careful with. We need to have a control of. Okay, and okay, how do we do that? What are the distraction? Where the distraction comes from? Okay, and he has certain numbers of distractions. Okay, in this topic, he's saying distraction number one is uh, company, companionship. Who do you sit with? Who do you talk to? Who are your friends? The social life that you have. Okay, because the social life, you get people and to know people and you get friends and so forth, and you start getting busy with things that is not quite important. It has nothing to do with what this life is about in its core, where we come from and where we're going, and some idle talk and so forth. That it affects the heart, especially if you start really connecting with those companies, right? Those people. You connect with them and you become sort of attached to them, and your mindset start deviating or not quite on the Surat al-Mustaqim or that straight path. And relationship can also get you to love uh, someone beside Allah, right? You attach, you get attached to someone, like your friend. You talk to him, sit, or you talk to her if you are, sisters and brothers and so forth, and then you are now looking forward to meet them again. When we're going to sit again, when we're going to pick up from what we left off, and so forth and so on. So there's some kind of attachment, okay? And the worst, one of the worst punishments that Allah will punish one, that will get him to have so much relationship that it becomes part of life that you really need, and actually you do not need it, but because of where you took yourself, you think you need it. So companionship, even he made a comment about two scholars who were sitting together and talking about the hereafter, paradise, hellfire, and so forth. And then one said to the other at the end, we make dua that Allah will make this meeting for the sake of Allah and Allah's sake only. And he said, I don't think it was totally for the sake of Allah. So the other one said, how come? Why do you say that? We're sitting and talking this and that. He said, look at how refined this talk is, right? He said, we have a relationship with one another, meaning we care about one another, we know each other for a long time. And I'm saying words in a way that suits you for you because of who you are, and you're doing the same thing for me because of our relationship and so forth. So he said, I hope that does not take away from the essence of what we're talking about. Now, who's going to think about that? Okay, but again, it is stages that we all go through. So companionship. Okay. Now, that second issue, which is important, all of them are important, is at-tamanni. At-tamanni. Or he said, riding on the ship of hope, right? What he means by that, as he explains it, that you keep hoping for things and you're not doing anything, right? Or you get to hope for things that are not really beneficial, okay? And you try to acquire it, you eventually try to acquire that. Or you hope for things that are actually solid and good and acceptable in the way of Allah. But you are fooling yourself with it. You're occupying yourself with the impossible, so you get away from doing the possible. You all know about that, right? Now, there are tasks in the way of Allah that you are capable of doing now. short term or long term. You can start certain things now, or you do things now, right? But then you don't want to initiate it or start this, but what you're going to say? We need, a khilafah, okay? The ummah. Okay. We need to, and you get yourself busy with things that it is impossible for you to do now. But the amazing thing is that the things that are possible for you to do now, it is usually part of that is very far, that is impossible to do right now. And this is something we need really to think about. Okay? Yes, the Khilafah, the wish for it to happen, or be Muslims all over the place here, masajid and schools and universities and this and hospitals by Muslims and so forth and so on. Okay, but you need to pray Asr now, for example. That's not what you need to do now is pray Asr, right? It is part of that plan. Okay, don't let this plan of hope, the hopes of the future, get you away from your duties right now. Okay, yes, you need to pray now. You need to learn Arabic now. You need, and so forth and so on. You can start many things now. Okay, so third, he said التعلق بالآخرين, to be connected with someone or attached, not just connected, attached to someone beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the point that you start loving them, that your heart actually is taken by the meaning that there is some place in your heart is being occupied, by this person. And he said that one of the punishment that Allah will punish you in this life with, that to allow you to love someone so much, okay, to the point that you be attached with them, okay, meaning that they can make you happy or can make you miserable, and so forth. That is a punishment, okay. So yes, love that is jibilli, meaning love that is Allah created in our heart and is part of who we are, that's fine. That's fine. The love of the children, the love of the wife, of the husband, and even the love of wealth. Okay, but love not in a way of attachment. Okay, being attached to it. It is a hubb that is jibilli, that is Allah created in us in a way, right? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as his son died, Ibrahim, and then Rasulullah sallam cried. So one of the companions asked, even you, Ya Rasulullah? Meaning the companion thought Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has so much iman that he will handle this and will not cry. Okay. Then he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Inna al-aynat la tadma." The eye will shed a tear. وَإِنَّ الْهَارْتَ. Now I'm going to English and Arabic together. إِنَّ الْقَلْبَ, or even the heart, will be affected, meaning will feel sadness. Okay, but we do not say that which angers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so yes, these issues, even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he who dies protecting his wealth is a shaheed. Okay, meaning, your wealth, your house, somebody's coming to attack you and so forth, you go and defend, and you'll die as a shaheed defending your wealth and your honor, your wife, your children, your house, and so forth. Okay, so that is, because you care so much about it, you come out and spend your life in it. Okay, that means it has you have some kind of attachment to it. It is okay in that way. But to be attached to someone to the point that you are away from the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no, that is not acceptable. And that's number 3. Okay. Now, number 4 is food. Okay. He said that eating too much, okay, that will get you lazy, will get you sleep more, and the last one is sleeping too much. So that those two are connected. Okay, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so many days he would only eat dates and drink water. We know that. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would not sleep with something to be eaten in his house before he he you know, the even the darahim, certain darahim, wealth, some coins, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would not be at ease. Even there is a report that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stood up for the prayer, and the companions stood up, and then the prayer about to start, and then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ala rislukum, wait," and then he went to his house, stayed there for a while, and then came back. The companions standing waiting. Then Rasulullah ﷺ said, I remember 3 dirhams that were there and in the house, and I don't want to die while I thought about spending them, and I told Aisha what to do with them, right? Told Aisha what to do with them. 3 dirhams before the prayer is going to take Rasulullah ﷺ, he's going to be occupied with this, he wants to get rid of it, and so forth. Okay, so the connection, okay, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be affected by how much we eat and how much we sleep. And what we eat, it is the quality and the quantity. Okay, quality is the food that is tayyib meaning ripe and good and sweet, not necessarily sweet sugar, meaning nice, delicious. Okay, when a thamara is tayyiba, a fruit that is tayyib, that means it is ripe to eat. Before that, it will be bitter a little bit, and after that, it will be rotten. But when it's tayyib, it is perfect to eat. And eating, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it is few bites enough for the son of Adam to straighten his body up, right? To straighten yourself with just few bites. But if you have to eat, then 1/3 for the breathing, 1/3 for drink, and 1/3 for the water, right? Yeah, 1/3 for food, 1/3 for food, 1/3 for water, and 1/3 for breathing, and nafas, to be able to breathe. I remember a long time ago, a sheikh came from Egypt to pray Taraweeh, talking about Ramadan soon, and he very kind, funny man, and beautiful voice, and older sheikh. And we were sitting eating with him, and one brother looked at him and he said, "Sheikh, what all of that? You ate so much." I thought he was joking. I thought that 1/3 is for this, 1/3 this, 1/3 for that. So the sheikh looked at him and smiled and said, "Well, son, all my previous life up to this point, that were what was for water and breathing. Now it is the time for the food." So that will take us into to sleeping. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved to stay up at night in a part of the night, early night. Sleep, not early night, but sleep very early, and not to stay up too much after Isha, and wake up in the middle of the night and stay up praying, and he would doze off a little bit before Fajr. That was the rhythm that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam discouraged sleeping between Maghrib and Isha. Okay, discouraged sleeping between Maghrib and Isha. Could someone sleep after Fajr? You could, okay, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala complemented that time, okay, that time of Fajr. قبل غروب الشمس قبل شروق الشمس وقبل غروبها. That is before the sunrise and before sunset. It is time that is recommended for making, dhikr and so forth. Now, tadakkur, and the last word about tadakkur. Tadakkur, as we said, about something that you already know and it's in the back of your mind and you're trying to retrieve it. We are starting now, just few sessions in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with our hearts. And right now we can try to remember Allah in all situations, not just in the prayer, in the fasting, in giving zakah, in sitting and making dhikr, but while we work in, while with our family, with our children, in on all aspects of life. We try to do that. But now that we are in the beginning of this path, it takes an effort for us, okay, to remember Allah in certain situations. And it is easy for us in other situations, right? And you all know what I'm talking about. You could be easily taken away from the remembrance of Allah, okay? Not totally, but you're gonna need to exert an effort to remember Allah in certain situations, right? But when do you do not have to exert an effort to remember anything or something in particular? When that issue is very close to you, it's a big part of you, it had an effect on you, right? Another word, you do not sit and remember and say, oops, I forgot the fire burns and I tried to put my hand in the fire. No, I will not do that. Why? Because I got burned once, right? So right now, I know that in me, in my genes, it's a print now saying that fire burns. So if I see a fire right away, I jump back. I do not have to exert an effort, say, I remember you when I was 5 years old, there was a fire, I'm putting it, oh, that is the thing that burns. You don't do that. Why? Because it made a lasting effect on you, okay? And you could see it clearly burning things, right? And how it consumed things. Hopefully in this journey, we grow into remembering Allah like that. Meaning that you get to the point that you don't exert much effort, okay, in all your situation to remember Allah, because you've been affected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much and you are aware of it. Because you made so much dua and Allah answered your dua. Because you are now aware of many attributes of Allah. Because you're aware of yourself, you're aware of your environment, of the reality of it, not the surface and the facade of it. Okay? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala show us the right path and help us to go on it and stay on it. And may Allah show us the wrong path and help us to stay away from it. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.